The RRIP Part 5.
Of course the Johnsons had a life insurance policy, but how much? Okay, Liz Powell knew what kind of money they were looking at, and her boss, Jack Madcoff, surely knows. I'll talk to him later. But first I need Crookshank to get Bob Johnson. We have more questions for him. I have to put in a call to the precinct to get a background check on the Johnsons as soon as I can find a damn payphone. Just as we got Bob down in the dining area, a tall, lanky 20-something shows up. He yells out on his approach, "Hey, Bob, more players?" "Not quite," I said. "And you are?" Looking shocked, he said, "I'm Tim, Bob's friend." "So I can safely assume you have something to do with the RRIP? You know, the investment pool." Somewhat relieved, he said, "Yeah, want in?" In a firm voice, I said, "No. Sit down, Tim." Crookshank pulled out his computer pad from the cloud and gave that Tim fellow a rundown, especially on Mrs. Johnson's sudden death. "Well, Tim, I guess someone won your pool. Time to pay up." Tim had this stunned look on his face. He was speechless. Crookshank then weighed in. "Look, Tim, you've got to come clean on this one. It's not looking good. We got an illegal pool and 3 suspicious deaths." At this point, I knew Tim was clued out as he looked, but we take no chances. I told Crookshank to bring Bob and his better half to Mr. Johnson's room. He can look after them. We have to sort out this mess. Crookshank, trying to put the pieces together, said, "Lieutenant, we have a few suspects, all with motive. We should be able to crack this and nail one of them." "You're partially right. They do have motive, but we're not there yet. We need more evidence. So far, all we have is this pool to go on. So until we can connect the deaths to this, we got nothing." Then Crookshank said, "And what about Lucas Holt?" "Here's the thing, Rob. This is not a cut-and-dry murder case, like a robbery gone bad or a crime of passion. We seem to have a well-thought-out, premeditated murder, which takes time to plan and execute. This person has a strict routine he or she follows, and from what I see here, all done in plain sight." "That makes it tough, Lieutenant." "That it does. What we'll have to do is disrupt their routine, and that is when they'll make a mistake which will lead us right to them. So, Lieutenant, you have an idea of who it is?" "Not yet, but I have an idea on how to flush them out. First, take the lovebirds up to Mr. Johnson's room. Holt is fine where he is now in the Crown Vic. I'm going to check and see if Liz Powell's boss, Jack Madcoff, is in yet." As I arrived, I saw him in the office talking to Liz. He was a small man, gray, well-groomed beard, expensive suit. Liz urged me to come in and introduce me. "Lieutenant Calhoun, this is Jack Madcoff." He greeted me in a soft, low voice and offered me every comfort his office could provide. I sat down. He asked me if I wanted a latte, cappuccino from one of those expensive, fancy coffee machines. Coffee, black. I can't see having a coffee that costs more than $1. We sat down to the situation at hand and talked for some time. Jack was very helpful. He was quite aware of everything that went on in the retirement home. He was convinced that they all had motive, especially the Johnsons. Not only the pool they organized, but the insurance policy, which he disclosed was about $250,000. I asked Jack how he knew that. Again, in his soft, well-spoken voice, which at my age is hard to hear, he said, "You see, Lieutenant, we keep and securely file all personal records on all our residents, since this is now their home, and a home with limited space." "I see. Well, thank you, and now I must go and check on Mr. Holt. Just before I leave, I noticed you have a book on your desk titled Policies. What kind of policies?" Jack quickly spoke up. Insurance, Lieutenant." "Oh, so you also sell insurance?" "Well, not quite. One requirement is that the residents have some kind of insurance in case of accidental injury or, God forbid, death. So we advise them on what is available out there." I thanked them and left, again back to the Johnsons' room. I met Crookshank, out of breath, running up to the office. "Lieutenant, Billy Rubin just called, and he's on his way back with some early test results." "Good. That's great. Now maybe we'll have some evidence that's going to stick to someone."